Hello, Choctaw County, and welcome into the Monday edition of SunTV. I'm Clint Franks with Deanne Campbell.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's a
Monday morning.
Monday morning, but the beat goes on.
It does. Well, there's some things going on in the world, but if you look at state media, you think it's all about football.
Yeah.
And that there's nothing else going on in the world except for War Eagle and Crimson Tide.
There you go. Well, that all will get underway next Saturday.
Yeah.
But I know what you're talking about.
But all the talk is right now, who's going to be quarterback for Alabama? What you think?
Well, it's like me and you were talking before we went on the air. You got two fantastic quarterbacks.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. And I'll borrow something.
Which is a good problem to have.
I will borrow something I heard from Coach Saban. I'd rather have two quarterbacks that were battling it out as opposed to no quarterbacks.
Right.
Jalen Hurts, great quarterback, 26-2 as a starter, 1 second away from being a national championship winning quarterback. You can't just bench him. I mean, I know everybody.
And he's a strong leader in the team, regardless. He's been phenomenal to watch, even as a freshman.
Exactly.
Just the leadership role he took in that team has been, and he was a gentleman.
Oh, sure.
With that last game for the national championship, the way he handled that, I was impressed. That made me more of a fan of his than I was even before that.
On the other hand, you've got Tua Tagovailoa. He played one half of football. I mean,
right.
a half of football for the ages, no doubt. But he played one half of football. When you break that film down and look at it, had a little luck going on.
Yeah.
But
well, and also they had studied Jalen left and right. Their opponents had his number. I venture to say they probably spent the majority of their time figuring out how to handle Jalen Hurts.
You were exactly right. I kind of look at it like this: probably won't know who's going to be the starting quarterback to whoever walks out there to take that first snap. But now there's also this. We've seen it time and time again. You know what happens if your starting quarterback goes down the first play of the game?
True.
I mean, if there's one place that Alabama is loaded at, and they're loaded at several places, but quarterback, it really doesn't matter.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Coach Saban's going to put the guy out there that has, as he termed it, won the team.
Well, we would be remiss in the eyes of some of the people out there viewing this more than likely if we didn't mention something to do with Auburn Tigers. What's going on in the world of Auburn?
I don't know. But
I knew that was going to be your answer.
And how do
you think they're going to fare this year?
I learned a long time ago never to count Auburn out. And I'm being just as
well.
I'm telling it the way it is.
They did take down Alabama last year.
Ton of questions over on the plains. Auburn, they dusted Alabama.
Yeah, they
did. No doubt.
Outplayed them hands down.
But Gus Malzahn lost 5 games. Year before last, 4 games this year. That's not going to cut it. He's got a ton of talent over the quarterback with Jared Stidham. His offense will be riding high. The defense will probably be really good. They'll be sound in the special teams, but they've got their hands full. First game of the season next week. They're going to take on Washington over in Atlanta, but
well, I guess we'll see. But when those two teams meet on the field, anything happens.
That's exactly
right. You
right.
never know. And it is bragging rights.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps even more than national championship honors. That is the game of the season.
That is the game.
And pretty much the same way with Patrician Academy and South Choctaw Academy here locally. When those two teams meet, anything happens.
It is.
I have seen some games between those two that would rival the excitement of any NFL game that you had ever seen.
The last 2 years especially.
Right. What happened with those two teams this past Friday? Thursday and Friday. They started last week with their regular season games.
Well, we were over in Waynesboro Thursday night for South Choctaw and Wayne Academy. South Choctaw got off on a bad start to begin with. On the opening kickoff, 10 seconds into the game, Justin Chambly went down with an apparent knee injury, and I know he's supposed to be.
That's a big loss for the Rebels.
He's supposed to be up in Livingston getting evaluated today.
He was one of the up and coming, the ones to watch. this year and has been a strong force on that team for a couple of years now. We hate to see him have to be out for a little while, and we hope he's okay.
And then later in the ball game, later in the first half, Hunter got hurt. Hunter Chamberlain he's got some ribs, a rib issue, so the game got banged up a little bit. South Choctaw, they committed 3 turnovers, and turnovers are going to get you beat. They played a good ball game, but they're really hurting from an injury standpoint, and the turnovers didn't help them. Wayne Academy took a 21-14 win. Now, Friday night we were over in Linden as Patrician took on Marengo Academy, and Patrician just had their way with Marengo.
That's right.
Too many penalties. They'll address that today, I'm sure. Some things to be cleaned up. They look really crisp in the running game, and they took a 33-6 win over Marengo. Now both teams have got their hands full again this week. South Choctaw will take on Monroe. That's a 3A school, and
that's going to be tough.
That's going to be really tough. They'll play at Jackson Field, and Patrician. That's going to be the SunTV game of the week. They'll be taking on a much improved Southern team. The Southern's a 1A team. Patrician's a 2A team. But they got their hands full.
And we're getting ready to see some public school action coming up.
Right.
What do you think about the Indians and Tigers for the upcoming games that they are involved in?
Southern Choctaw will travel to Bruton. They're going to face Thomasville and W.S. Neal in a jamboree. The Indians it's going to be really interesting to see what Southern Choctaw can pull off. They were 4-6 last year.
But they've got some good players returning this year.
They have the potential to have a really good football team. We'll see. They'll kick off the regular season next week. Choctaw County High, they have a jamboree game in Tiger Stadium. They'll take on, I believe it's McIntosh and Marengo. Now, if there's a team that needs to have something good, the ball bounce their way, it's Choctaw County High.
They've got a group of very young players. So potentially, although this might be a learning season for them yet again, those guys are young. So they could build into something if those guys stick with it and they really have some leadership going on to move them in the right direction. They have the youth and they have the years ahead of them if they stay on the team.
You're exactly right. Biggest thing out of that, guys, whether they win, whether they lose, that's your kids. Go out and support our local schools.
It's like Coach Cheney said, really the key to their success is community and school support.
And that goes for, I don't care whether you're Rebels, Saints, Tigers, Indians, Wildcats, or Sweetwater Bulldogs. Get out and support them.
That's right.
Not just the football team, but the band, all that. We got volleyball coming up this week too. So I mean, anything. They're great kids. Get out and support.
That's right. And they need to see their mom and dad there.
There you go.
And their aunts and uncles and grandmas, grandpas, and all those folks that are out there in the community who have a vested interest in the future of those children. So, you know what? There was a meteor that almost hit Alabama over last week, Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
It was a fireball in the sky over just north of Gaston in Turkeytown. Do you know where Turkeytown is?
I know about where Turkeytown is.
That thing was pretty good size, and it came within 58 miles of, they saw it 58 miles up. And that's a little scary to me. Something falling from the sky, that size and that close, something falling from the sky.
Well, you know,
it scares me a little bit. It's happened before.
It's happened before.
Yeah, I don't want to be in its path. We did have, actually, a lady in Alabama who was hit by one in her home, actually, several years back, and the doctor who treated her was actually from Choctaw County. Did you know that?
I have heard that.
Yeah, it was. So we're glad nobody really saw the ill effects of that meteor, but just know that there are things falling from the sky, Clint. The sky is falling. Yeah. Well, now, there's a lot of other things going on in the world, and one of the things that we've seen in the last few days is all the hub going on about Miss America. Miss America program is actually coming up next month in September, the annual pageant, most people call it. But there's controversy, and we don't really know what's going to go on with that. And they're asking for the heads of all the CEOs and higher-ups, in particular Gretchen Carlson, who has just actually this year taken over the leadership role of that organization. She was a former Miss America, actually, and she was a former Fox News anchor, host, on Fox and Friends. But there's some controversy. For one thing, I don't know that this controversy has anything to do with this, but they've made some changes since she took over. Getting rid of the swimsuit competition. There will be no swimsuit competition. I knew that reaction was going to happen. And those men out there are going, huh? What are you doing? She's trying to make it more of a, less about looks and more about potential and smarts. And that's to be commended. But there are some allegations that there's been some bullying going on and some, we don't really know what all's going on, to tell you the truth. I have not told exactly just how they've been bullied or what's been going on with that organization, but suffice it to say, we don't know. That's a shaky thing. It would probably not affect most of us in a big way if there was no longer a Miss America. What do you think, Clint? Do you even watch that thing?
I like to see how many of the Southern ladies get in, because
we usually do pretty good. Yeah. Southern Belles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Southern Belles, yesterday I met a couple of bike riders coming through Choctaw County. Okay. 2 girls, young girls. They were recent graduates of Notre Dame, headed on to graduate school, medical school. They were paddling through the area, and do you know why they decided to do this?
I read a little bit in your show notes, but maybe to clear up some misconceptions of the South.
One was from Chicago originally, and one grew up in California. They said they had some preconceived notions about what the Deep South was like based on media and things that they read and heard, and all those usual accusations of Southern life.
Right.
They wanted to come see for themselves what the Deep South was all about. So they're riding their bikes from South Carolina to New Orleans. And I asked them if they had some different ideas about what the South was like. And they said yes, they had. It had changed their minds about a lot of things that they had believed about the South.
Right.
They came through Choctaw County, and I believe we showed them a little hospitality. They were very appreciative of the people that stopped to offer them water, asked them where they were, be nice to them.
Yeah.
And we tend to do that. We're friendly folks down here.
We are.
We beat each other up bad, but we're friendly.
But I've learned that people are people wherever you go.
No, that's true. But that's fun, and you'll see more of their story this week in the Sun. Yeah. What else is coming up in the Sun?
Oh,
a lot of football.
From the sports desk, a lot of football is going to be coming up. We're actually working on getting team photos of our JV and our Pee Wee, and that especially that'll either be here or next week. Volleyball's here. We'll be doing a lot more coverage.
We want to pay some particular attention to volleyball, because we have. For a while, all of our local schools did not have volleyball teams, and now they all do, and they're all pretty competitive. We have some pretty good volleyball players in this county, some potential scholarship level volleyball players, and we hope to see more with those teams in the next few weeks or so. We will be covering that extensively. Yeah. Well, also coming up in the Sun this week, we're going to have a look at our first responder of the month. This is a feature that we've just started to highlight the service and the work of local folks who respond in emergencies, from firefighters to rescue personnel with the rescue squad, and police, 911 operators, paramedics, anybody who works with emergency response. And we have our first nominee this week as first responder of the month, and it was a very great interview to talk to this person who's dedicated 20 years to this, and very deserving of the honor. So y'all can find out who that was if you pick up the Sun Advocate on Wednesday. That's right. Or if you get it in the mail on Thursday, I guess. Wednesday or Thursday. Well, what's up with this weather? It's been raining. A lot. Yeah, we've had some hot weather this summer, but we also can't say that it's been dry. No. And it's a blessing, really, because having such heat coupled with dry is a bad thing. Mm-hmm. But having this heat is bad enough. That rain that we've been getting is a great thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do I'm doing a little research to see just how wet it's been in comparisons with other years, because I believe we might be on the verge of being among the top summers history in Alabama as far as rain goes, precipitation goes. It's been raining every day. Well, as well as I know,
usually by the time we're this time of the year, it's 100 degrees, and
right.
the only way we're going to get any rain is if something comes up out of the Gulf. And
Right.
thank God we've not seen any of that so far. But
they've kind of changed their tune a little. They said that we were likely to have a really severe hurricane season, and I know it's really early in the season, but I think they've scaled that back some, and I hope it stays that way.
I do too.
Yeah, but the rain, we welcome the rain. Bring it on. I think we're supposed to get some more today, actually. As long as it don't get some bad wind and stuff.
As long as it doesn't rain on Friday nights, we're in good shape.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, you can't be picky.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Well, actually, another thing coming up in the Sun this week, we have some more information about some decisions made by local county governments and municipal governments, and you know, those things get interesting. Mm-hmm. We've had some interesting county and town government meetings in the last few weeks, things that have really been eye-openers,
right.
Things that have really been controversial, and we've got some other things that have been decided that will be talked about in the Sun this week. Nothing as significant as what we've seen in the last couple of weeks, but still some interesting things to read about what your elected officials are deciding on your behalf.
Didn't you have something on a local official in your show notes?
Yes, I do. Speaking of local county government, District 1 Commissioner Tony Cherry is this Thursday night going to be sworn in as the president of the Association of County Commissioners of the State of Alabama. That's a pretty big deal. He's going to be president of that organization, which this is the first time we've had one of our Choctaw County commissioners or officials in general serving in that level in a state organization like that. He's been involved in that for a little while, several years, but he's now going to be president of that organization. And all I can say is, you know, that's great for Tony. We applaud him for reaching that level, but I think it's going to be something that Choctaw County can benefit from in the way of gaining some attention for the issues that affect this county on a state level. And we congratulate him for reaching that level, and we're looking forward to see what comes out of that for not only for Commissioner Cherry, but for the county as a whole.
Absolutely. Something else with SunTV. GoCo's is our sponsor.
Right.
We could always use more.
Right.
And we need your help. We're going to do about 21 football games this year.
And if you, as your business or an individual, wants to help sponsor that, we are really looking for additional sponsors. Those we can give you different scenarios of how you can do that. If you'll just call our office, talk to Clint, talk to our ad representative Holly, and we can set you up and get you started with some sponsorship. That's political candidates. That means you too.
251-843-6397 is our contact.
That's right.
number.
Yeah. Well, Clint, I guess we'll see you Wednesday morning.
You'll be
right here, right before the paper goes on the street. And y'all have a great day.
All right.